Happening now, lead poison dangers persist to be a big problem in the city of Jamestown, with around 60 school children testing positive for elevated levels each year. And the latest on a northern Chautauqua County narcotics trafficking investigation, months in the making. Plus, a Chautauqua County cheer and dance squad is getting ready to steal the nation's eye, taking part in a big competition.
Live and on demand, this is WNY News Now.
And thank you for joining us for WNY News Now. I'm Justin Gould. Those stories and more are coming up, but first, lead poisoning dangers continue to be a big problem in the city of Jamestown, with around 60 school children testing positive for elevated lead levels each year. This startling statistic was revealed by Chautauqua County's Healthy at Home Coalition director during a recent Jamestown City Council meeting. To make matters worse, statistics confirm around 700 or 800 children enrolled within the Jamestown Public School District are marked as having a potential impact due to adolescent lead exposure. Now, if a child is exposed to lead paint, the toxic chemicals could cause a permanent change in both their learning and behavioral patterns. It was commonplace in the mid-1900s for lead paint to be used in residential homes. Only after decades of use, health experts discovered that the mixture was highly toxic. With the majority of the area's housing stock built in the mid-1900s, many homes harbor the toxin. In fact, the Pearl City is listed as one of the top areas for lead poisoning in the state.
Jamestown has the 7th highest zip code for the number, not rate, number of lead-poisoned children of all zip codes outside of New York City, in New York State. So it is a significant issue here, and I'm just hoping to continue to, that we can have attention on this topic, because it is a very, very important piece of housing and how we address and why we address housing issues.
Now, county health officials acknowledge that completely eliminating lead poisoning hazards seems like an impossible task. However, there are solutions to help mitigate the issue. One proposal would be to apply a new product to neutralize paint. We have more resources for homeowners and renters alike to learn more about trying to mitigate lead paint posted in our web story at WNYNewsNow.com. Well, 9 people were arrested following a 6-month-long narcotics investigation by local and federal law enforcement in the city of Dunkirk. On Wednesday, investigators with the FBI, Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office, and Dunkirk Police executed a search warrant at 13 Willowbrook Avenue. Fentanyl, methamphetamine, and codeine was recovered inside the residence, allegedly packaged for sale. Several people were taken into custody at the address. The group faces a slew of charges, including criminal possession of a controlled substance. Now, authorities ask anyone who may suspect illegal narcotic sales within their neighborhood to contact the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office tip line. That number is 716-664-2420. And a man convicted of burglarizing a Chautauqua County home was sentenced to a state prison term on Wednesday. The Chautauqua County District Attorney's Office announced that Matthew Kennedy was sentenced to an intermediate state prison term of 2 1/3 years to 7 years after he was convicted of second-degree burglary. That's a Class A felony here in New York. The 31-year-old Angola resident was arrested by the Chautauqua County Sheriff's Office back in May of 2022 as deputies responded to an unwanted and disorderly person call on Ball Hill Road. Law enforcement accused Kennedy at the time of entering the home by breaking in a door and then starting to damage windows, cabinets, and other household items inside. Furthermore, Kennedy also allegedly attacked both the homeowners by kicking and pushing them to the floor. And during court proceedings last winter, Kennedy pled guilty to a lesser burglary charge. Well, hundreds of students from around Western New York filled Jamestown Community College's gymnasium this morning for STEM Wars, a technology field competition for middle and high schoolers. Our Bronson Rasmussen joins us live in studio, just returning from JCC a little while ago, Bronson, with more on some of these innovations that our local youth are creating, and it's pretty remarkable stuff.
Oh yeah, Justin. From rubber band catapults, drones, stick bridges, propelled cars, and even fighting robots, kids from around the area came to showcase their works. with some even bringing in bigger projects, like a Forestville student who created a working pinball machine.
We started actually last year. We started and we got like all the body work done, and we started up again this next year working on it. And we just refined a bunch of everything. We got put these sensors in here, and we worked on the paddle design a little bit.
One pair of young innovators from Falconer had an idea, a new way to make PB&J.
So we were sitting in class one day trying to come up with our project, and our class period is right before lunch, so we were hungry. And we decided, let's make a sandwich maker. And after about a week or so of the creative design process, we decided on a peanut butter and jelly machine.
So when we came to the design, it was, like we said, I'm hungry, I want a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Let's make a maker. So we decided to come up with this idea.
The event also includes a slew of different manufacturers from our area looking to cultivate and nurture this young talent.
It's such a cool event for these kids to come out and showcase their talents. You know, it's not too many opportunities for them to come out and build a bridge or a robot. So just a very cool opportunity for them to come out and be able to show their stuff for once.
In the end, local agencies believe this is a good way to introduce the next generation to the manufacturing industry.
Manufacturing is very well and alive in our area. We need good talent all the time, a lot of life skills, a lot of personality skills, a lot of team building, and those are things that you can't always, just come natural. So it's good to build it up and keep it in the area.
No other local talent scouts were eager to get local youth to stay in our area and to really develop their skills, and in the end, it really to get them to stay here.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've heard for, years now, that there are manufacturing jobs, some of them very well paying here in Jamestown, and they'll go to the educational loops and strength to say, hey, to high school kids, you have an opportunity when you graduate, and you can learn through JCC's Manufacturing Institute the skills you need to be able to have a job to provide for yourself and maybe your family one day. So it's so cool to see that STEM Wars, I know during the pandemic, like so many things had to pause, but is back, and I think better than ever to have a fun day. It's not just a field trip, like these kids prepare for it.
That pinball machine he told me he'd been working on last year.
Yeah, wow.
All the time needed to get something like that done is crazy.
It is. So great work to these kids, and thank you, Bronson, for highlighting it, because it's so important highlighting our youth here on the program. Well, some other news that we're following today. A new avian art exhibit. It opens Friday at the Roger Tory Peterson Institute here in Jamestown. The new exhibition, Hope is the Thing with Feathers, includes work by 5 women whose art practice explores the powerful yet fragile nature of birds and the ecosystems in which they live. The artists revealed intersections between nature and culture, ultimately using their art to advocate for conservation. By combining scientific research and data into the works, curator Maria Ferguson hopes the collection will inspire a deeper understanding and appreciation for environmental importance of birds. During a first look at the new exhibit, Ferguson highlighted illustrations of Liz Waheed, who drafted the work for Cornell University's Birds of the World initiative.
What I really love about these works, which are illustrations of recently described or redescribed species, is that she does an amazing job of translating scientific information to us as the viewer. So she's telling us all about these birds, what they look like, what their habitats are like, and exactly where they live.
Now, the new exhibit opens Friday at 6 p.m. with a panel of conservation to discussing the exhibit. The work will be on display through June 11th. The Natural History Museum, located at 311 Curtis Street here in Jamestown, preserves the work of world-renowned nature photographer and naturalist Roger Tory Peterson. Certainly, what a great time, and a good day today, too, to be able to get out and maybe see some birds with lots of sunshine. As maybe some of them coming back for spring. I suppose that's a good question for a naturalist, Andrew, either of us are, but nevertheless, still chilly, though, if you're going to do any bird watching today.
If they're coming back, they still might be a little bit more early because winter is not done yet. Live look over Warren has partly sunny skies down there, and the snow is starting to melt down there in Warren, and snow is starting to melt across our area too with the sunshine and the warmer temperatures that we'll have today and tomorrow and the rain coming. First Defense Doppler radar shows nothing happening out there, just some clouds starting to filter in across the region out ahead of another system that's going to be moving through later tonight. I wanted to share you this photo from Amber on Facebook of the sunrise this morning over the Jamestown BPU, a beautiful photo of the sunrise. If you have any photos or weather photos you want to share with us, you can always share it to us on WNY News Now or the First Defense weather page. The almanac for today, we made it to a high of 35 degrees yesterday. The low was 17. The records for today, 82 set back in 1990 and a record low of 1 degree set back in 1992. So for the rest of the afternoon out there, another nice day out there, partly sunny skies today. Clouds will continue to filter in through the rest of the afternoon, and temperatures today in the upper 40s, close to 50. So get outside and enjoy it because the rain returns tomorrow and the chillier weather returns this weekend. I'll have a look at the full forecast details coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Andrew, we'll see you back in a bit as we continue the latest on a bar incident in our region that has sparked a college suspension. And later, why New York State's Senate and Assembly have rejected a proposed ban on menthol cigarettes. Stay with us. That and more after this.
With coverage that matters, this is WNY News Now.
I'm a survivor.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at oneball4tc.com.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram at Caitlin Armstrong.
Land has been quite the experience.
EagleZip.com is your local one-stop shop for all of your home and business computer needs. Located on Fluvan Avenue Extension, just outside of Jamestown, EagleZip.com sells and services all brands of desktops and laptops, as well as servers and network equipment for your business. All new computer sales include transferring your data from your old computer, plus a 2-year warranty. Call EagleZip.com today.
Stop by EagleZip.com today and let us make computers easy for you.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Mercyhurst University has placed 3 student athletes on interim suspension following an incident at an Erie, Pennsylvania bar. The university released a statement announcing the suspensions after determining 3 of the people in the video are student athletes. Video of the incident was captured on camera and first posted to social media Tuesday. It shows people walking up the stairs at a local bar, and then the Mercyhurst men's hockey junior Carson Breer pushing an unoccupied wheelchair down the steps, causing that chair to have damage. A GoFundMe now has been started to raise money for the chair's owner. And the New York State Senate and Assembly, they rejected Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal to ban sales on flavored tobacco products, which would have included menthol cigarettes. Hochul introduced the proposal in February 2023, and if her proposal was adopted, it would have made New York the 3rd state in the U.S. to completely ban all flavored tobacco products. Hochul's proposal was opposed by the State Assembly and Senate, but both groups did agree to raise the cigarette taxes by $1. Some supporters of the ban say menthol and flavored tobacco products are disproportionately advertised to black and brown communities. On the other hand, people who are against the ban say it could hurt local business. Once the increase of $1 per pack goes into effect, it will make New York State with the highest cigarette tax nationwide. Well, one House budget resolutions in the New York State Legislature just came out. Our New York Capitol correspondent Elise Klein is breaking down the bills and hearing from lawmakers about what the next steps look like for the budget.
This week, the Senate and the Assembly released their one House budget resolutions, not including the governor's proposal that would eliminate the least restrictive standard for judges to set bail. Some Democratic lawmakers say judges have plenty of discretion, and New York's bail laws are not a main driver of crime.
We are investing, I think, our resources in all areas that will help to combat crime. So again, what I want to do is, put the emphasis where it belongs.
Majority Leader Stuart Cousins says to combat crime, the legislature should be more centered toward investing funds into mental health, crime and violence prevention programs, and education. While some Republican lawmakers support investing in these programs, they say the level of discretion judges have to set bail is tied to levels of crime.
The judges do not have discretion. Find a judge that will tell you that today they have discretion. They do not. The least restrictive means, that language, that's literally what the law says. The least restrictive means is almost always not, releasing them either with an ankle monitor or whatever it means, but they're on the street.
In Albany, Elise Klein, WNY News Now.
Elise, thank you. A one-time aide to former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, who's accused him of sexual harassment in a federal lawsuit, filed a separate lawsuit against New York State. Charlotte Bennett filed a complaint Wednesday in state court in Manhattan, saying her former employer, the state of New York, is liable for Cuomo's sexual harassment and for the actions of his top aides who failed to take corrective action when she reported it. Bennett already filed a federal lawsuit in September against Cuomo and 3 top aides. In both suits, she says she was sexually harassed and then retaliated against. Bennett, who turned 25 when she worked for the governor, claimed he subjected her to invasive questions about her personal life and sexual relationship. He once told her he was lonely and wanted a girlfriend who lived in Albany, according to the state lawsuit. Cuomo has denied all of the allegations. Well, coming up, we check in with a legal case that could impact abortion pill access nationwide. And later, a Chautauqua County cheer and dance gym. They're getting ready for a national competition. We take a look behind the scenes of preparation ahead of the show. But first, Andrew's back with a full look at our weather forecast. Stay right there.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first. WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
There are 2 silver linings here. One, that no injuries were reported, and 2, they were able to contain the fire from spreading further.
Western New York has a new congressional member representing them.
One of the things that made Betty White so unique was the fact that she connected generations of fans throughout the decades. Take a look at the display here.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
Have you ever wanted to live out your dreams? Hunt, fish, in all corners of the earth? Well, now's your chance. Follow Primitive Patriot Outdoors as we live out our dreams and show you how to live out yours through outdoor adventures. From Western New York to Africa to all corners of the earth, follow us on this adventure. It's an experience you've never seen before. Lead and Lures, Roku TV, Channel 716.
I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm a survivor. Testicular cancer is the leading form of cancer in men aged 15 to 35.
1 in 250 men will be diagnosed with testicular cancer.
But 98% will survive if detected early.
As a survivor, I believe early detection is the key. Learn how to do a testicular self-exam and other important facts about testicular cancer at 1ball4tc.com.
Fast, accurate, and every day. First Defense Weather.
Welcome back to WNY News Now. Currently in downtown Jamestown, we're under partly sunny skies. The current temperature is 42 degrees at the Jamestown airport with a southwest wind of 10 miles per hour. Let's take a look at some of the weather headlines. The weather will remain dry today as high pressure continues to maintain dry weather across the region. Although rain returns to the region tonight out ahead of a low pressure system that's going to be moving across the Great Lakes tonight into tomorrow. And then eventually it's going to push a cold front through the region tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening. And that's going to usher in some colder air with more lake effect snow as we head into the week. And it's also going to be some gusty winds tomorrow afternoon. So let's take a look at those future wind gusts for tomorrow afternoon out ahead of that cold front. And as the cold front passes across the southern tier of northwestern Pennsylvania, we're looking at wind gusts maybe 30 to 40 miles per hour. The strongest wind gusts tomorrow afternoon will be found right near the immediate Lake Erie shoreline with a gust around 45, maybe up as high as 50 miles per hour. Here's what's happening across the northeast right now. Generally dry weather right now, but that low pressure system is currently across Minnesota right now. That's going to drift across the Great Lakes tonight and then tomorrow and bring rain to the region. So let's time it out on future scan. Through the rest of the afternoon out there, partly cloudy skies. Clouds will be on the increase later this afternoon and the evening, and then the rain showers will begin to arrive around midnight, and the rain showers will continue through the night tonight and into the day tomorrow with those gusty winds arriving tomorrow afternoon as well. And then that cold front moves through tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening, and then colder air will filter in behind that cold front heading into Saturday and Sunday, and lake effect snow showers will set up for Saturday and Sunday with some minor snowfall accumulations possible. So here's the 7-day forecast powered by Ultimate Satellite Solutions. Today and tomorrow, temperatures in the upper 40s close to 50, and then we drop back into the upper 20s close to 30 for Saturday and Sunday, again with lake effect snow showers. But heading into next week, an extended period of dry weather starts Monday, and it looks like most of next week could end up being dry, quiet, and calm with temperatures mid-40s close to 50 next week.
All right, I look forward to it. Andrew, thank you very much for that. Let's get some headlines from around the nation, and we're getting new footage of Tuesday's encounter between a U.S. surveillance drone and a Russian fighter jet. The European Command released this newly declassified video, which lasts about 30 to 40 minutes. It shows the MQ-9 Reaper drone's tail and propeller as it flies over the Black Sea. Then a Russian fighter jet approaches. As it draws closer to the aircraft, it dumps fuel on the drone. Another portion of the video shows the jet making a second pass and dumping fuel again. The video is then disrupted as the jet collides with the drone. With the drone damaged, operators flew it down to international waters off the coast of Crimea. Two U.S. officials say that the operators remotely wiped sensitive software to mitigate the risk of secret materials falling into the wrong hands. Now, Russia denies a collision occurred. Meanwhile, the drone has not yet been recovered. Moscow is still deciding whether to retrieve the wreckage. Well, U.S. stocks dropped Wednesday due in large part to investors' fears about the future problems in the banking industry. This comes on the heels of another major financial fall, this time from an institution across the Atlantic. John Lawrence has more for us.
Credit Suisse, one of Switzerland's top lenders, has been struck with the banking blues. On Wednesday, its stock value tumbled as much as 30% after its largest shareholder announced it wouldn't increase its funding for the 167-year-old institution.
It's certainly not great in the context of the bank failures that we suffered here earlier this week. You know, everyone's on edge, and it just adds to the angst.
Some of the angst may be fading as Credit Suisse says it'll borrow 50 billion Swiss francs, about 54 billion US dollars, from the Swiss National Bank. Officials there, in a joint statement with the Swiss Financial Market Supervisory Authority and Credit Suisse, say the problems of, quote, certain banks in the USA do not pose a direct risk of contagion for the Swiss financial markets. Speaking of the banks in the USA,
I don't think this is a time for panic or alarm. This is not 2008.
Since Silicon Valley Bank collapsed last week, many depositors have been yanking their money out of small banks and putting it in accounts at bigger banks like Wells Fargo and Bank of America.
Not being able to get your money out of the bank is a fear, but it is not a realistic possibility or realistic threat that Americans are facing.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The FDIC only insures up to $250,000 per bank per depositor, regardless of a bank's size. Larger banks are generally seen as safer, though, because they have more cash available and the government is more likely to bail them out if they fail. A federal judge in Texas held a hearing Wednesday on the biggest abortion-related case since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade last year. The issue is about medication abortion. Anti-abortion advocates sued the Food and Drug Administration over medication used in the process. The lawsuit is seeking several actions, including an injunction ordering the FDA to drop its approval of the drug. That would essentially block its use nationwide, at least temporarily. Reproductive right advocates are in favor of the medication. They say that if the judge were to side with the plaintiffs, it would eliminate the most commonly used method of abortion care. Both sides had an opportunity to present their arguments on Wednesday. The judge's first ruling on the case will be the only preliminary injunction issued. Well, coming up next, a local cheer team, they're getting ready for a national competition. Our Jackson Hickey stopped by one of their practices to get a behind-the-scenes look.
You're watching WNY News Now, your source for breaking news. WNY News Now is covering stories that matter to you.
This year's theme, Fire Won't Wait, Plan Your Escape, focuses on the importance of knowing your way out of a home or business in the event that a fire were to break out.
The Hullo Summer Festival in downtown Jamestown, and as you mentioned, the whole goal of this is to connect Jamestown's kids with things to do over the summer.
WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
On this episode of Lead and Lures, pro staffer and lethal lady Caitlin Armstrong takes out her big Ohio buck. Months of hard work, dedication, and scouting have led her to this moment. You're not going to want to miss this episode of Lead and Lures on channel 716 Roku TV. And if you want to see more of Caitlin Armstrong, follow her on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram.
Hunting on private land has been quite the experience.
You're watching WNY News Now, where coverage comes first.
A cheer and dance team based in northern Chautauqua County is headed to Florida this spring to compete in a national competition. Our Jackson Hickey caught up with some of these local athletes during a practice this week.
Core Athletics, which has a gym in the city of Dunkirk, will be participating in the Dance Summit as well as the Cheerleading World Championship at the end of April. The studio welcomes athletes from all over western New York, including Chautauqua and Cattaraugus counties.
All of the core athletic gyms and teams that were eligible for Summit earned a Summit bid this year. And we also have 2 Worlds teams. It's been successful. It's been a really awesome experience, and it's just a different level of excellence.
Being in a relatively unpopulated area compared to many other dance teams, the Dunkirk Gym prides itself on bringing the big gym experience to more rural communities.
It's definitely been a big experience cheering on core athletics because the gym we came from wasn't big, so it was really cool to be able to do the things that I've seen people on TV do.
The team will head down to Orlando next month to take part in this series of prestigious events, where they'll compete against other groups from across the nation and beyond. But more important than all the success, according to the coaches and students, is the teamwork and friendship that dance brings to so many young people.
Core athletics is like a home to me. It's like a big family. It's really fun. Sometimes it gets stressful, but a lot of the time it's just we're just here to have fun.
Jackson Hickey, WNY News Now.
Wow, those flips are amazing. The team's competition will take place between April 21st and April 30th at the Walt Disney World Resort. It's so awesome to see this great talent right here in our backyard, and not just that, but the young people, right? I honestly think that's probably what today's show's all about, right? Is connecting these young people to their talents and getting them on board with some pretty awesome stuff. So it's certainly a wonderful story to share. Well, that's going to do it for our show today. Of course, the news continues 24/7 at WNYNewsNow.com and in our free mobile app. We'll leave you with this live look over Randolph's Whedon Park. Have a great day.